G'day, citizens. Welcome to Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. How you doing, mate?
I'm fairly well. Fairly well.
So, we've had an interesting event this week, so I thought we'd do an episode on it, and critique it, and kind of talk about, like, how not to do an event, and how we think it should have been handled better. And I know we're not the only ones, so this is,
No, I've heard lots of
we,
complaints or frustrations.
hmm.
So, question: have you actually done the event?
Yes, I did actually eventually, after 3 days, manage to find an Idris. And it was very uneventful when I did, and we'll kind of talk about that now. But I think the main problem was initially just finding an Idris, right? So initially they were CIG devs on it, and therefore straight off the bat that just rules certain places out because say you're a dev from Manchester, you may be asleep when someone else wants to find it.
You mean
And
like people in Australia? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, there's also a certain number of devs to go around, so therefore a certain number of servers. You have 100 server cap. If some of that is, say, taken up by 20 CIG devs, you see where I'm going here. And a lot of content creators happen to have CIG devs on their friends list, so they right-click and join. So a lot of the people we were seeing were streamers. It is this feels like this really pumped up and hyped event that just fell flat for the normal everyday man. And that's myself included, so to speak. Like I didn't get in that way. It wasn't until they started spawning AI ones that I find one. And I know I'm not the only one that's been like that. And so that was just the start. That was the first problem, and it gets worse after that, believe it or not. Did you find any yourself, Agra? Did you get to see one?
I have not. In the limited time I've had, no, I haven't.
Right.
It's rather frustrating and sad.
Yeah. And one of the
I want to see it.
well, one of the things they talked about was they learned from the F8 one, right? How, man, this is even worse than the F8. It's even worse. So the F8, not many people got a chance to hunt the tickets or anything like that, or even attempt. There was not very many of them either. This one, they're literally now giving away an Idris, so they've upped the ante, and it's even worse because you can't get onto the servers. There's less of them that they're giving away, and then it lead into other problems where. So one of them is you have to hold the Idris for 10 minutes in combat and get combat footage for 10 minutes. The other one is a 10-second snippet along that line, right? So basically,
I thought 10-second snippet one was 10 seconds snippet of you guys getting ready to attack the Idris. Gearing yourself up.
Yeah, that's a part of it, right? But the other one, right, is so it's an org event all of a sudden. It's not for the individual everyday man to go look at this new ship that's coming into the game. It is only for orgs. And what's been happening is these orgs have been getting onto the ship, and instead of fighting people, they're just warping all over the place so you can't get to them. So essentially they're hogging the Idris when I've even heard things where people, have got a hold of the Idris and they're very kindly taken it to somewhere like New Babbage or something like that. And then an org has come along, taken over the ship and taken it away so normal people can't see it. Things like that. So it's, for lack of a better word, it's become a little bit toxic. Or negative, right? And that was just after how hard it is to get onto a server that's got one, and then the next step is even actually getting a chance to look at one because they're driving around all over the place. So this event has kind of had this double negative, and it's way worse than what the F8 was, because the F8 was the chance to find a ticket, luck of the draw. This is double that. And it's been really infuriating. Like, if you've watched any streamer, now you'll get some people that are lucky and they're the ones in control of the Idris. Awesome. But again, they are the minority, not the rule. And then you've got like streamers that I've watched and they're just like literally warping around for 5 hours straight. And it's just not a good look.
I think part of the problem as well with the Idris is it's a raid ship.
Yep.
It's a ship that's made for an org.
Yep.
It's not a ship that's made for you to go up by yourself. So you've either got to have a pickup group to do the raid, or you've got to have an org we organise to do a raid.
And that makes sense because it's an
And that in
org
itself
event.
is the problem for the event.
Yeah.
In terms of the way it's going.
Yeah. But it's like anything new, right? So let's just
Yeah.
give them the caveat that it is an org event, but normal people are going to still want to see it. Like it's this big ship.
Is, even though you want the event to be inclusive, the fact that it is a raid event, the fact that it is effectively a raid, actually excludes vast numbers of people who.
What was the same? Again, when it started out, it was CIG staff spawning this, and they were in it, and you had to take it off them. Again, that just limits it straight away because there's only so many CIG staff. They've got to sleep like anyone else. So I think CIG are kind of forgetting that this is a global game now, you know? So straight off the bat, they should have had 3 teams ready to go in different parts of the world. And I think the other way you could have gone, like I'm sitting here thinking of how they could have increased their numbers. Why didn't you give it to orgs to start with to try and hold on to? And then it's taken away from them by normal people. Make the community a part of the event, you know what I mean? And then, you know, and if they lose it, it falls onto another org, and then it falls onto another org, and so it goes around, and different people get to look at it. You know,
I certainly think the idea of combating the CIG devs to get the Idris. I really like that idea. When they just discussed it, I thought this is great. But
sounds awesome on paper, but it instantly.
The problem is the fact that CIG employees are in Manchester or LA. If they're playing the game at the time that's ideal for them, I don't know about you, but I'm sleeping. Like,
but it's not even just that. That's the first. That is a part of it, right? So you're sleeping, and so it rules out a third of the world straight off the bat. But the other part is there's only so many devs to go around.
Yep.
You know, like how many star citizen servers are there going at one at a time? Is there 50, 100? Like again, that rules out all those other servers.
Yeah.
Just luck of and it becomes luck of the draw, or they're on your friend list, so then it becomes a select group straight away.
All right, so we're saying this event didn't go well.
Yep.
Wasn't executed well. Brilliant ideas on paper. The idea of going up against the devs, fighting the devs, you know, then yes, you keep it. Yeah, okay, great. We're saying the F8 event didn't go well.
Yep.
Because of issues with that. What events did go well?
I think you've said it before too, like those kind of events that are community driven, like the Xeno threat went really well and stuff like that. I think they are getting better as events go. I just don't think they're thinking the entire thing through from the community's perspective, and that's a really hard thing to do in life too. Like put yourself in other people's shoes. Like they were thinking how cool and how it does sound cool when you read that page. It sounds really awesome, just like you said, but it just doesn't articulate that way.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes you make a plan, and this is the thing with, like, you make a plan, you think, okay, this is how it'll work. This is awesome. It's going to be great, and you implement it, and then you go, yeah, it's not working, and then you've got to try and fix things on the fly. But in terms of events I thought were good, I loved Xeno Threat. Xeno Threat initially, was laggy. It had issues, but as an event for everyone, it was inclusive. You could turn up in an event in a strike. I turned up in an Aurora. I was doing the event, including getting involved in the combat and getting smashed.
Yeah,
the whole event was fun. Siege of Orison is a fairly good event. The problem with Siege of Orison does get with the way the story flows. If you're not there early, you're kind of trying to catch up, and you're way behind. But it's still a fun event, even if you've turned up late. There's still things you can do. Well, they're two good events.
They've got to spread it out a bit too. So, for example, let's take that F8 one, right? I don't know when and how the tickets were decided to give out, but wouldn't it have been far better to basically have done them in waves? So, like, one was done like they do the waves for the Idrises and the Krakens when they're sold every 8 hours. So every corner of the world gets one. That's how I would have been doing it. Every 8 hours, it randomly spawns
a number
a ticket.
of devs go and do that. Every 8 hours for the Idris one, a group of devs do the thing. And that might mean you have your volunteer group of devs cycled on to be on at a certain time. I know a certain pair of streamers who get up at odd hours of the morning to
Look,
to stream shows. So
yeah.
it's not an unheard of thing.
I think with this event specifically, it makes it harder because you've got to have a group of CIG devs
Yeah.
to control that, Drews. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of sitting here to myself and I say a natural fix for this. We could probably move on to that, like how we could have fixed it, right? And I've just been sitting here thinking while we've been talking, is if you'd actually split the developers up, right, and they all had their own Idris, all on different servers, and then they had an AI crew, problem solved, right? Because so instead of putting all the CIG devs on one ship, it sounds cool in theory, but it would be far cooler if it was just one dev, because then more people would have got to experience it.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
The other way you could fix this event
Mm.
is do it as a arena commander event.
Yep.
You want to do it a combat between two Idrises.
Yep. And you would have been
together, and you do you get your two teams and you.
Yep.
Set them
It
up in
fundamentally changes the event because you're no longer attacking it, but it does quickly allow you to get in and fight, see what it's like to fight in it. Like, how many people are going to say, I was in an Idris turret and I got to fire an Idris turret from this event? A handful?
So if you do it at arena,
how many people are going to say, I flew an Idris this event? Even less.
But if you do it as an arena commander event, you could have, okay, you've got one group that are trying to board Idris. Got another group, you could do Idris to Idris. You could have Idris to boarding crews.
Just real quick, like the F8 though, how many people said they flew an F8? Everyone got to fly an F8 because you found a ticket and then you got to fly one. Not everyone's seen. This is why this event's worse. You didn't get. I didn't get on an Idris. I saw an Idris, but I've seen an Idris before in game. I can do that every day of the week, but I never got in it. I never flew it. I never shot a turret. I never got to walk through it and explore all the rooms and stuff like that. There's so much that we didn't, and that's vast majority. My experience is in line with vast majority of what people have experienced, and it's a letdown.
But that's why the event didn't work, because at the core, the Idris is a raid ship.
Yep.
It's not a ship for execute, not a ship for owl. It is a ship that really lends itself to an org.
But even if I had an org, if I'm not the first org there, I've got to fight the other group to get it, and 9 times out of 10 it explodes, so I still don't get to see it.
Yeah, but we're looking at the fixes. So if we do a fix where it's on Arena Commander, you get your group of friends, whether it's an org or just people who pick up group. You could then go into Arena Commander and do the same thing, where you board, fight. So to me, it seems Arena Commander would have been the ideal.
Even an Arena Commander where you could have just essentially walked around in it.
Yep. You could have had an Arena Commander where you just walked around. You could have had an Arena Commander where you fought an Idris. You could have an Arena Commander where one team was defending the Idris and one team was trying to board the Idris.
Even if it was just, I was about to say Port Alice, but you can say more. You know what I mean? But even if it was just one of the stations docked, so you could go in and look at it, that would have been enough. In fact, most people would have been happy with that. It's just that they've just swung for this really big event, and they've just literally missed 99% of the community.
Maybe at Invictus, CIG will park it to the thing, and rather than doing javelin tours, we can do Idris crawls. Or the Stanton.
So I'm really kind of annoyed about it. I think they need to redo this sooner rather than later, obviously. And I kind of put that in people in the comments. Like, is my experience similar to your own? Like Algared, he never even got to see it at all. He was at work, so he's just shit out of luck. What would you like to hear from people in the comments below, Algared?
Look, how would you run an event that is, or where would you like to see an event that is basically an org event for a raid ship?
Yeah.
How would you like to see it done?
Yeah. As
something you could experience and do?
Yeah.
Would you like to see it more as a CIG thing with one crew and one CIG dev and AI crew?
Yeah.
Would you like to see more inverse like we've got, or on Arena Commander?
The one thing I say is be constructive. Don't be derogatory. Like, tell them how you want it fixed, right? And it's the same thing, like they say they learned from the F8. Well, this event's way worse, so I hope they've learned from this one because they're making it worse, not better. And if anyone from CIG is listening, you really need to take the entire community with you. Stop making these. Kickstarter itself, way back at Kickstarter, they said this game will have no exclusive. It'll be inclusive. That's what we want. We don't want exclusive events. We want inclusive events. Bring the whole community with you, or you're going to leave, like, people just feel left out and burnt and salty and bitter, and that's kind of how I feel. I feel like I missed out on something, and there was nothing I could do about it to be included in that event. And I'm not the only one, right? There's a lot of content creators out there that feel like this was another event for the top end of town.
And, yeah, I find it hard to not see it as an event for top end, just because, to me, the Idris is a raid ship.
Yeah.
You've heard me say it before the show. I said half a dozen times. I think I've said half a dozen times here.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not a ship that I ever expect to be flying, fighting, controlling myself, even with AI crew. I expect to be doing it with friends and human crew, supplemented by AI.
Doesn't bode well either, though. Like, we've got the Polaris coming along this year. Are they going to do the same thing again? Are they going to, show it off to certain people and use it as a hype machine to drum up things, or are they going to give it to the people that brought it and get them to fly it and fight with it and stuff like that?
So I think the Idris is a special case because it was the ship they always wanted to hold back, Squadron 42.
Yeah. Is this
because they wanted us to have that experience of discovering the ship while we were playing the game.
Is this them still holding it back? Is that what you're saying?
It could be part of that yin and yang of trying to keep that there. Don't always assume. I'm trying to take that assumption that there's no nefarious or bad blood, or we just don't want to fit this group. Look at the positives of what they were trying to do, how they were trying to do it, why they were trying to do it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, it didn't work. How do you fix that problem?
I think the thing that kind of has made me more and if you can't tell, I am kind of pissed about how this event's gone down, by the way. I'll just make that really clear. Is they said they learned from the last one and they've made this one even worse. And I just don't know how the thought process went down, and they didn't see the problems with the F8, and in fact they somehow made it worse. Like, that's the real disconnect from me. They didn't kind of see the issues we had with the F8 event, and they made it worse. And I just don't see the disconnect. How could you not hear people's issues and make it worse? So all those issues people had, it's like you dismissed everything everyone said about the F8.
I think the disconnect comes from the fact that the F8 was a single-person ship. This is a multi-crew ship. And I think that translation didn't work. I think
I can give you that.
It might work better, but it didn't.
Yeah, but again, like, people didn't feel they even had a chance of getting the free one, right? And so you don't have a chance of getting an Idris because you're not in an org. But it goes further than that. You can't even see an Idris in this one because you just don't happen to get on the server, or you don't know someone that's a dev, or you can't get on the server because there's capacity. And
so if the competition to get a free Idris is, I remember you saying this at the beginning of the show, was film 10 minutes of combat in an Idris.
Yeah, so there was two of them. It was the 10-second one and a 10-minute one. Yeah.
So the 10-minute one, that you could do that on Arena Commander. Easy.
You could have done if it was in Arena Commander. But it wasn't.
If it was done, I said, if it was done on Arena Commander, you could have done that on Arena Commander. Easy.
Yeah. I believe it's 10 minutes of combat in an Idris.
Yep. So you could get 10 minutes of combat footage of your crew fighting it with an Idris in Arena Commander if it had been an Arena Commander event. For the 10-second getting ready to raid an Idris, I think you and I could get a group. We could go into a game right now. We could do a video of getting ready to, gearing up to take on the Idris. 10 ships launching from the pads, or putting on our armor. Bang, done. Yeah, we're taking on Idris. Let's get ready. You know, so
yeah, I think I'll kind of wrap it up there. But like at the end of the day, I'd just like to hear how people think that they should have done the event. Any ideas that you could suggest that would have made this more appealing and more inclusive? Because it really does feel like the most exclusive event they've ever done. Even more than the F8. And all the stuff I read is it just feels like it's another event for streamers, and it does. It really does feel like that. And quite honestly, if they do these events, I think they need to. If you're going to make it so it's like a random event, you can't have. You need to be on another account that's on a CIG account, because then the people that are on that server are randomly there. They're not just jumping off your back onto there. And again, you only have to look at the people that have been doing this event. And you can turn around and say, I sound like a salty person because I missed out on something. But that's what everyone's saying. They're salty because they missed out on the event. And realistically, do you know what made me happy? Just being able to get on the address and walk around and look at it. That's all I really wanted to do. And I couldn't do that.
The base fixers have one at A Star base.
Yep.
That is docked.
Yeah.
And you can walk around it and see these stuff.
But every person that plays this game has not had a chance to fly one. They have not had a chance to shoot the guns on it. They've not had a chance to walk around and look at it. It has literally been a publicity type of thing. And that's what annoys me. Because at the end of the day, do I walk away with a positive thought of this event, or do I walk away with a negative reinforcement of this event? And how does it make me feel? Do I feel happy, or do I feel negative? And I'm going to be honest with you, I think most people feel negative about this event. So it's had the inverse reaction that they were after. They wanted to drum up excitement around this Idris.
Well, I think have it docked. I think it should have, I think the easiest way would have been for it to be a Arena Commander event with various things. And that would have given everyone the opportunity to get in. You could have even done it, combine it with both, have the in-game plus the...
They did talk about the Storm the Idris type of thing for years, or capture the Idris for years and years and years. And it just... That's not not what we were promised.
And I think the fact that there'd been that promised Arena Commander kind of Storm the Idris type campaign, plus you had this event happen, I'm pretty certain you had this is Storming the Idris.
I did.
Image already in your head. Yep. I know, that's what I was thinking. I'm pretty certain any old backers were thinking that.
Yeah, capture the Idris is what it was, but yeah, I get your point.
So, we already had that built up expectation or hope and there. And that meant our disappointment with an event that doesn't work is intensified.
I'm sure there'll be comments in the comments about me complaining or me acting like I missed out or whatever, but but I'm not the only one, and I know Algared missed out too, and I know there's a lot of other people that have generally missed out because of how this was done. So yeah, let us know if you were lucky enough to fly one, shoot one, and all that. And I think it's awesome those people that did get to experience it, but it's such a limited number of us that got to. So yeah. With that then, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell if you like this type of content, and thank you to everyone that went an extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. And please don't forget in the description, the GoFundMe for myself and Algared to get to CitizenCon. We are currently up to a bit over $500, I believe, so a little bit further to go.
No, I'll be honest, I don't mind if it doesn't work, because I'll go and I'll have a holiday and not work. If it works, if it goes through...
He's got to work.
It's working.
All right, then. In my case, I won't be going because I just can't afford it. All right, with that, then, he's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.